Welcome, everybody. This is Anja, and these are my my Venusian friends, Raymond Keller, Dr. Raymond Keller, Cosmic Ray, and Robert Potter.
Hello.
Hello.
If you want to give us titles, you can call us Facilitator of the Venusians, Historian of the Venusians is Ray, and the contactee and organizer of the Mount Shasta Summer Conferences is Mr. Robert Potter. Right?
That's right. Thank you so much for having us, Anya. It's a great honor and a pleasure to work with you, who has supported Omnec Onec, the little Venusian, for so long, and promoting her books and writing a book with her and translating Raymond's books. This is fantastic. Thank you so much for having us on.
Thank you so much for being with me. And of course, we now want to express our gratitude for all our friends who have been supporting us and being with us for so many years. This is the first thing that I want to say also. And we are now here to invite you all to participate at the next summer Mount Shasta Summer Conference in June 2023. And this is going to be probably a unique opportunity to meet us all together, because my friend Omnec Onec, the Venusian, the only real Venusian among us three, I would say, because she was born on Venus and brought to Earth as a little child in her own manifested body. So she came with her complete consciousness, with her full awareness as a child to Earth, and she's my friend, my teacher, my soul companion, all that you want, right? So since around 25 years, meanwhile. And Ray is the historian of the Venusians. He wrote meanwhile, I think 7 books about Venus. The first one
7.
I had how many?
7, yes, you're right.
7?
7
books.
Counting.
Counting, exactly. And the first one I had the honor to be allowed to translate it into German and to publish it in German. Which is this one? Aufsteigende Venus. You see, it's really a big book. And he was in Germany and Austria and Switzerland here with me this year in 2022. And Rob is a multi-contactee. He has lots of experiences. He has met Venusians, interviewed Venusians. He has a huge knowledge and capacity of really, I don't know how to put it, it's really, he knows so much. I just know that you know much. I know that.
Thank you. I feel like I'm kind of like Raymond is a writer. I'm a talker. I have a lot of information there and experiences and meeting the Pleiadians. And I've been studying for a long, long time. I'm a little more politically oriented than Cos, but in the understanding of why this information doesn't get out.
Yeah.
I'd like to mention for folks, the name of the conference is called the Mount Shasta Summer Conference, and we got the title from Cosmic Ray. We had we traded some ideas around, and it's called the New Spiritual Paradigm. ETs, angels and ETs in the multiverse.
Very good.
Yes,
angels
that's right.
And ETs. Mm-hmm.
A new spirit, angels and aliens in the multiverse, a new spiritual paradigm.
Yeah, we don't use the word aliens because they're our friends. We're calling them extraterrestrials.
Oh, okay, very good.
Yeah.
Of course, this title was created before we knew that even Omnec and I are probably going to participate. So it could be if we would have found, hey, hello, what's going on there? Everybody's
I don't know.
Happy?
It's going to be June 22nd through the 25th, 4 days in Mount Shasta, California. And of course, we have just solidified plans to confirm that Omnec Onec, the woman who was born on Venus, will be coming with her daughter and the three of us. So we're going to have a pretty solid crew there. We also have some other speakers, Brad Olson, Sasha Stone. We have quite a few other people. You can check it out on the website, thepromiserevealed.net, and Anja will be putting links up there as well. And I won't talk a lot about the prices, but Omnec, I bet Anja will be selling your tickets. So if you're going to be getting tickets to this event, if you want to think about it, plan for it, when it's time, please contact Anja.
Exactly, because first of all, you get a discount of the regular price when you buy your ticket with me, and you do you support mine and Omnec's and her daughter's Toby's stay and travel and our work in general. So you support us. So please contact me if you want to participate, and we will figure out everything else then afterwards, of course. Yeah. I mean, concerning the money transfer and all these kind of things. This is not so important right now. We want to invite you to participate, to make use of this unique opportunity of really it's going to be a high frequency. I mean, it's Mount Shasta. We, as the Venusian contactees, so the ground crew here, we have really went through lots of consciousness expanding experiences, and we have been working in this field for decades, all of us. So it's going to be mind-blowing. I think it's going to be ascending. It's going to open our hearts. We will find soul friends and soul mates, even maybe. God knows what's all possible, right? Opportunities will appear for people to find their purpose, their soul purpose. I think we will find many answers to questions when we are going to be there.
There's definitely magical experiences to be had at Mount Shasta. I know every time that I go there, I always feel uplifted and have very unique encounters on a high level. So I know that happens to everybody that comes up there, and who is seeking and who who really understands where they are, and can tune into to the high frequencies there.
Yes.
It's also
everything. Yes, Rob.
It may very well be the last time that Omnec will actually present. So she is getting along. She kind of retired, and she's feeling chipper this year after all of the COVID and the lockdown. And Anja very kindly has encouraged her, and she's coming. So if you ever want to meet a real Venusian and don't be afraid to ask the hard questions. And you may not get the answers you're looking for, but I'm sure you're going to find it very interesting, because she's so full of the presence of God and the spiritual understanding and the actual reality of who she is. It's not something to prove, it's something to enjoy.
Absolutely. It's really, I mean, for me, it's really a surprise, actually. I really did not expect her. It's just a couple of days when we were talking about it, and she was, first of all, she said, well, I'm going to think about it. And then 2 days later, she called me again, all excited. Yes, we want to come and blah, blah, and everything. And I was like, what? Really? Seriously? So this is really, I mean, it's the first time now then in 5 years, right? The last time she was in Mount Shasta and met you, Ray, and it was in 2018. This was the last time when she publicly appeared. She's really very hidden. She has no internet connection. She has no cell phone. She is totally busy with her daily life, with her physical self, of course, because she had a stroke in 2009, and so she is handicapped. She has she's slow, and it's going to be a big effort for her to do that. So we really have to honor that and see that she is doing this effort to go there with her daughter, and she's already so translucent, you know, her energy. I know that she's really ascending. She's already an ascended human being, how I feel her, but she is really pure light, pure love. She's just, there's just this little physical shell self left over in which she's walking around. Yeah. Yeah. Omnec Onec, actually, but it's no problem. It's difficult.
So this is our spacesuit that we've been given to operate in this planetary environment and atmosphere of this world we call Earth. And I know that it's just a great pleasure to be there with Omnec, to see her again. I talked to her on the phone the other day, and I could sense that she was very excited about coming there. And yeah, I do believe that she has that aura of ascension energy all about her.
Yeah, I just noticed that she's so down to earth, and you know, has that very human element too. She doesn't apologize for it. A lot of people have expectations in how she acts or what she does, and she blows right through that, just being herself. And you know, we're all in the sense human, and therefore, you know, evolving into our perfection constantly, even beyond human. I imagine that's an ever increasing time on the faceting wheel of God's perfection, right, Cos?
Yes. Well, we're just honored to be in her presence, and to enjoy uh, the the revelations and information, enlightenment and uplifting encouragement that she's going to bring.
You know, I can't remember what I asked her. I just remember her answer. It's probably around 20 years ago. And it was a question from somebody who wanted to know something about her higher consciousness or her astral self or something. I can't remember the question, as I said, but her answer was, you know, she was always so funny with these high things, high consciousness, awareness, spiritual things or information. She was just like saying, I exist multidimensionally. Does that count? That's typical Omnec. And this is exactly what I wanted to say to what Rob said. You know, people encounter Omnec exactly on the level that their awareness is at this present moment. So if they're really just in this material, physical identification, they just see the physical Omnec self, which is in their eyes nothing. It's just a little person that has had a stroke and that made a fairy tale kind of a story up to make herself important, to make money. You know, people came up in the last decades with the most ridiculous ideas, you know, because she never made money. And this is really the last focus point that we all have. So we are all, but I'm not justifying this anymore or explaining this anymore. And then there are others a little bit more in their heart level. They see, oh, this is a beautiful, loving being. She's kind, she's sweet to people. She's just nice. But there are also people like we are. I think meanwhile, I would say that we see her presence as an ascended, as a really multidimensional soul that's about to that's really already a master energy. So, and this is no worshipping. This is not putting her on a pedestal. This is not admiring her for something. This is an eye-to-eye feeling and a heart-to-heart feeling, right? We just can enjoy our presence because we have dissolved all the crap that was in between, all the judgmental things, all the thought patterns, all the belief systems, everything that was separating us. This had been burned away in the last years or decades. This is how I feel it. And this is how I am so much looking forward to being with her, present physically again together. We will just be pure fun and pure happiness. We will laugh so much. Everybody who is with us in this field is going to simply have fun. But you will not go home again without having had some experience or transmuting experience or some transformation, because this is really high transformative ascending frequency.
Oh yes, the energy is really overwhelming, and just to be in the presence of fellow uh, fellow individuals that are making the effort to travel all the way to Mount Shasta. You know that they're guided there, that they're dedicated, they're purposeful, they have a good intent, and it does nothing but completely augment the energy around. And you could just sense their light body, and even see it sometimes.
Yeah, it's a thing that I mentioned in my introduction. Is this year is actually dedicated to the people who are coming. You know, I dedicated last year to Dr. Keller, and but this one's dedicated to all the people who have faced all the ridicule their whole lives, who've been the black sheep of the family, who've been demoted, defunded, disenfranchised, looked upon as the crazy ones. We will be vindicated worldwide, everywhere in the very near future. It's going to be well known and well established and accepted that we were absolutely blinded by the ignorance and actually contrived denial of our alleged leaders in the media to the truth that we are not alone, never have been alone, and never will be alone in this wonderful multiverse. And our guardian sister planet, the planet of love, the planet of Venus, has been so instrumental in guiding this planet and aiding us at critical times in our juncture with open contact and their presence on Earth in positions of responsibility, of culture and science and education, and many areas of influence, aside from the endless acts of compassion and kindness and patience that they've exhibited. And we have been unaware, but I say, like the Bible, and Raymond's favorite, mine is Hebrews 13:2, beware lest ye entertain angels unaware. And these angels are messengers. They're messengers of the truth of God and the spiritual nature of humanity and consciousness. And it is to you people who have held the faith, to you people who have known the truth, I encourage you, even in Germany and Switzerland or wherever you come from around the world, to come and to have this fellowship, this communion with our Venusian friend, and ask those questions that your heart desires. And she's very accessible. She gets a little tired sometimes, but at her age and everything, we're going to take good care of her. But you're going to find a real gem and a source of spiritual presence that you won't find with a normal researcher or contactee. So This is a very unique opportunity, and I think it's the only open extraterrestrial on the earth that I know have ever been admitted to the public that they are from another world, have been here, and are actually living here as a star person, not a star seed. You know, you have the different versions. You have a step down, which is Omnec. You step off the craft. You have a walk in. Occasionally, they'll take over an earth body of a soul that wants to move on. And then you have a crawl in, like the star seeds. And then, of course, you have the dual citizens who come and go, but they're very hidden. They must hide themselves. They presented themselves to Raymond and to me and Omnec to you, Anja, many times. I'm sure you've been unaware, but they're here, and we're very fortunate to be able to share this message. It's what we've all come here for, I believe, and I really feel that no matter what opposition I face, I'm moving forward, and I just wanted to honor the people this year who have come, because it's all about you, really. You are the people that make this conference and create the wonderful energy against the background of the wonderful, beautiful lakes of Mount Shasta, the hiking trails, and the natural beauty. We have Castle Lake. If you bring your kayaks, your stand-up surfboards, swimming, walking on the trails, and this quaint little town. It's only a mile long and a mile and a half wide. So it's a sweet little repository. And if you look up at the mountain, you'll remember that the Queen of Venus told me that the city of Telos beneath the mountain is an ancient Venusian colony from Lemuria. So that is cloaked in the fifth dimension where Omnec Onec came from, the fifth dimension on Venus. So people talk about the fifth dimension. It's right here on the earth. It's right on Venus. It's a frequency and it's an attunement and a resonance in the consciousness field of the individual that makes that happen. So we already have the fifth dimension here on Earth, and they have it on Venus as well. So we can learn much from our dear friend Omnec and Raymond Keller and Anja as well. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Rob, for those kind words. And yeah, I just want to say that speaking of angels and so forth, in the Bible it says, "Forsake not the assembly of the saints," and the word "saint" is what it means in Latin, is those set apart. And I would say all those that come to Mount Shasta are set apart for a very special purpose. And sometimes it's like in real estate, they say there's only three important things: location, location, and location. So Mount Shasta is definitely the epicenter of psychic and metaphysical awareness, spiritual understanding, and that is the place to be. And I couldn't think of any better place to meet all the um, uh, fellow light workers from all around the world.
Well, the awesome thing is that I have started to understand that the fifth dimension, first of all, Rob, totally, I agree, it's already here. And now that we are connecting already, even Omnec is present through us and through me and here now. And we are talking about something that is physically, so on the physical calendar or timeline, whatever, it's in 7 months or so, but it's already now. So we have to really, I think, be aware that even when we are now starting to create this field and connecting to it, we are already present in this future moment. It's now. And it's going to be intensified, and the energy is going to increase in the next month even. So it's going to stabilize ourselves and those who are hopping into this field in the fifth dimension. We are the ones, through us is the energy flowing. We are the ones who are bringing the new earth to birth. We are the ones, right? We are the light bearers, the light activists, the light workers. We are the ones who bring this here into to thrive and into manifestation. So this is what I wanted to add, that even those who know that for some reason or the other cannot participate maybe physically, if they connect with us, if they feel with us from the heart, in whatever kind of way, even just by thinking of us in a positive way, connecting to Mount Shasta, to this area, to Omnec, to myself, to Rob, to Ray, or support us in any kind of way financially, even without being able to physically come, do it, because whatever you give from your heart to make this experience happen and to make this to put energy into this, it supports us all. It helps our transformation and the transformation of the earth into a higher dimension, to stabilize the fifth dimensional consciousness.
I definitely hear what you're saying, Anja. When you think about how events in the past um, shape the present, it's also true on a higher dimensional level, as Omnec would explain, that events in the future also shape the present. And so this event fixed ahead in time to June of next year is already shaping the consciousness, the expectations, and the understanding of all these light workers. And so it's definitely it's definitely higher dimensional at many different levels as well.
Individually, I think that, there are many people who can exist in the fifth dimension for a brief period of time, have their consciousness augmented. Essentially, it's invisible to us. The planet's frequency is shifting. Will people be able to, in mass, move to the fifth dimension? Probably not for some time. But I think that individually, many people can ascend anytime. I mean, Cos, why don't you talk a little bit about the idea of mass planetary physical fifth dimension and what that means? I mean, the Venusians that we speak with, not Omnec, she came from a higher dimension than even the Venusians that Raymond's met and that he's introduced me to. Talk about the fifth dimension versus the fourth dimension. I mean, we're not really going to be surpassing the Venusians in the fourth dimension as a planet in the immediate future, are we?
No, not in the immediate future. Although, as you read all of the sacred writings that we have here on Earth, just the Bible, for instance, talks about the transformation of the Earth, and that the Earth would become like a sphere of crystal, and that we would ascend uh, to beings of light, to a kind of angelic order, and but this is all in the future. Right now, our planet is is well, we're growing in number, the people whose consciousness is aware, and sometimes there are those on Earth who uh, who have attained to a certain gnosis and understanding, and have walked by faith, and like Enoch. Enoch walked with God and then was no more. In other words, he was taken up physically, bodily, into these higher realms, even other physical realms, other physical planets, and so forth. So these are recorded in the book of Enoch and so forth, and not necessarily that in the Bible, but it does say in Genesis that Enoch was taken up, and others, Elijah and so forth. So this is something that's real, and in my books I talk about or write about certain individuals who have gone through this process called translation. It's equivalent to ascension, although ascension applies a more mass type of uplifting and transition to another realm. But individuals who have broken the cycle of life and death here on Earth and have gone on. And so all the details of this are explained in the books. And of course, we'll talk about all that stuff in detail when we're in Mount Shasta.
The individual, when we look at the Earth, I mean, most people will agree we are kind of like a spoiled child. We have going through a lot of growth, and this is, our own limited understanding due to the ignorance that we have been kind of herded into a false understanding of reality. We have only the five senses, and science has taken over rather than the understanding of the open-ended multidimensional universe in which we live. And I think that it would be good for people to keep an open mind and to realize that as these truths come to our society and as the actual vibration shifts due to the solar flares and other activating DNA and the natural course of evolution on the physical level, that it would be wise for those people not to hold on to preconceived notions of the way things are or the way they thought things are or their attitude in terms of religion, in terms of the way we deal with each other in finance, and in the terms of the way that our society is run. We're going to have to put away our selfish, greedy ways that have promoted money and profit over health. We have allowed our politicians and we've allowed ourselves to be lied to. We've allowed the destruction of life on our planet. We're not the only life here. There's other forms of life that we are destroying by our irresponsible actions and our lack of awareness of the natural laws of the universe. Venusians live in love and prosperity and harmony, and they have offered to share this with us, but our governments have refused this. So we're going to be seeing an awakening of the people that will remove the bellicose militarists, the religious potentiates, the financial hucksters, as Commander Rains had spoken. And we're going to have to find something new. And we're not going to be able to look to our politicians. I think a self-responsible awareness of gathering together of like-minded souls in a free-form association to create new platforms and new sustainable communities is never more important than now. We're going to be seeing some challenging times in terms of supply chains of food and other things as our Earth kind of comes to this realization of what we're doing. We're going to have to find something new. So the Venusians are here as our guardians and our friends to help us go through this transition, even through the trauma of the disbelief and the emotional acceptance of kind of how crazy we've been. Now, as you mentioned this to me many times, what want to share with Anja a little bit more about the transformation and what you see taking place?
Oh, sure. Well, in the Bible, of course, it talks about Paul and his being caught up into the higher realms in the heavens, and in his writings, he explained that the goodness and the understanding and the spirituality that we have attained to as human beings is still like looking through a glass darkly. We don't have the full picture because we all haven't been caught up into the heavens like he was. But what it is that um, there are these higher realms, and um, they you know they do exist, and our world is moving in that direction. In other words, the goodness that we see on Earth right now, the level of goodness and understanding and light is just a reflection of the glory that's in the heavenly realms. It's like the when we look at the moon, the light coming off of the moon isn't a natural light pertaining to the moon itself. It's reflection of the sun's rays, and so um, the kind of illumination that we see and that we understand while trapped in this mortal coil is just a reflection of the higher glory, because they differ one from another. And when we're in the higher realm, we'll be in the direct sunlight, as opposed to just a reflection off the moon. If you kind of get what I'm saying.
Well, how do we get there? Cause they say in heaven, love comes first. Is it true that we'll make heaven a place on earth? That's the go-go girls.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a similar question, because I know that many people who are hearing this, for them it might still feel like a almost inaccessible realm of fairy tale, or maybe in 1,000 years or whatever. But many people now are also confronted with a world outside that is going partly in a direction of much control and much manipulation, and trying to keep the old system or this controlling system really active, or even make it worse. I just saw, for example, a little video, a snippet from China, where a little 3 years old baby has a mask, and all these people are with their full body condoms walking around and getting that, and making people forced to obey to these kind of rules. And of course people are asking themselves, then how come do we get from here to the place that
Well, we are
about?
we're the focus of all of that, is as the light workers. We bring light into the world, and some will follow the light, and others will will not comprehend the light when it comes to them, with individuals like Omnec, and that they will fall away into the darkness because they don't comprehend it. So we are carrying out the role of what Dr. Frank Strange said, as reaping angels. As the light workers, we're gathering in those who want to be in the light, and helping them transition into the light. And yes, we are heading into some period of tribulation. Nothing comes easy, of course. Before there are significant changes, we'll have to go through that. But we're here on Earth to be that light to those that are lost and roaming in the darkness. And we can make the change. We can be the difference, if only to ourselves or to a few around us. But that's all it takes to create an avalanche. Is just one little snowball. And so we're the snowball.
I think it's it's like it's a real simple switch that we can provide um, with the knowledge that you share, Anja, with your long association with Omnec, and that I share through my experiences, and Raymond shares. We can let them know that this extra dimensional realm is a reality, and that it is here on Earth. It's really a level of your consciousness field and resonance. And we kind of go up. It's like we're a little tiny point of light, and we raise our vibration. At times we're humming, and then the human element comes in, and we become swayed by our emotions and the challenges of living on the material world. And then, of course, we also have the negative forces who have sought to dim the light, who have created technologies and foods that are designed to destroy us and to keep us unhealthy and out of resonance. And the higher choices that we make and the associations that we gather into and our day-to-day decisions will help us achieve a higher frequency. And it's going to be hard when you look into the future. You see, I mean, I've thought about these changes for a long time, and this is why, for me, the extraterrestrial, when I understood and was having my experiences, I really saw that this is the key to Earth's destiny, is the awakening of people beyond the veil of this limited material prison that we keep ourselves in. It's a mental slavery of our own decision that we can simply flip the switch. And I think we have an experience, and many others as well. And they may not be talking about extraterrestrials, but there's more incredible technology and understanding of the multidimensional nature of the universe that's going to unleash the powers of man's mind through his own belief system will be expanded into not belief anymore, but direct knowledge and
knowing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I just was thinking about of this one scene that Omnec wrote in her book From Venus I Came, in her autobiography, when she was talking about, I mean, this is one reason why she was brought, right, to tell the story of their ascension, and that's in the book. She explains what the Venusians went through and how they were uplifted to a higher frequency. And this one thing that I always remember is this, that she said, well, and then came the point when the Venusians gathered together and made a big fire and put all their money into the fire. They burned the money because they decided to not live with that system anymore and to live on their own, in their own way of different connection. So this is going to be really, really interesting if we will still experience this in this lifetime. This is what I wanted to say. Or, if we will still really go through this experience of really being free of the system. You know what I mean? Will we still finding our soul friends? Will we be in Mount Shasta next year at the Mount Shasta Summer Conference burning our money?
Yeah, I don't see that happening, but
not yet, right? Not yet.
They called it the beginning.
Yeah.
They had a very controlled artificial intelligence type of probably a patriarchal, dominating, restricting culture, as we see being attempted now.
Just as we have right now, right?
Yeah.
And what they did was they burned their money. And Omnec explained to me that what they did was each group of people, they got a very well-rounded, when they decided to go off and create their own thing, they separated into different like families or communal. They all had scientists, they all had engineers, they all had alchemists, they all had gardeners, they all had teachers. Everyone was required to learn all tasks and all science that made their thing. We're very compartmentalized. We know this, we know that, we know this. They really rounded out their education so that each person could contribute in many ways to their society and I think they came together after they had been separated. It was called The Beginning, isn't that right?
Yeah.
Anja, you probably know more about that than me. Why don't you share a little bit?
Oh, actually, it has been 20 years ago since I read it. No, 12 years ago. I really want to dive into it again. It's so huge, the whole information. I can't really recall all these details. We have to read the book again, or ask Omnec next year.
Or Cos, maybe you looked into the past and saw what happened. What did they do, Cos?
Yeah, Ray is the historian. He should know.
Yes, they went through a period of transition, and this is very important, like reading Omnec's books and reading my books, because in my books I present a future beyond imagination that's attainable to us, because our elder brothers and sisters on Venus and other planets have set a model for us to follow,
Mhm.
where we can avoid some of the pitfalls that they went through if we take the time to learn about it and understand it, because we're the masters of our own destiny, and we can we can be in the world but not part of it. um, Definitely, starting with our own homes and extending to our local communities and states and countries. And this is all possible, that we can bring about this type of unification on Earth. And at such a time as we start to even um, reach half of these objectives and levels, I'm sure that we will be welcome into the Galactic Federation.
Cos, you said, I'm wondering, at that time, did they have any like physical cataclysm type thing? You have mentioned that we're going to be having some very tough times coming up here, based on some of the information you had. I mean, I think this will probably speed us along in it, although without being negative. Um, can you talk about how that will act as a tool of transformation of society, or maybe share a little bit about that? Because
Oh, sure, I can tell you, just give you examples out of history how improvements were made, like during the Great Depression, when following the decade of the Roaring Twenties, which were very bad to, and they shared the resources and worked together, and that's just one example. And families stayed together, and it was uh, it led into a kind of solidarity. So when people face a crisis, they tend to come together, and this is a very important thing. And I hope that when tribulations befall our planet, that people will come together instead of continue to drift apart and fight one another.
what tribulations do you see coming that will challenge people?
Well, we've already seen a rise in epidemics and so forth, and now in Ukraine we see all this conflict going on, and how it has the effect of spreading around the world, disrupting peace. I mean, we're heading into Christmas time, but it's definitely not peace on earth.
I think a lot of that's manipulated, though, right? Isn't it the choice of people not to participate in those destructive acts? I mean, if a few people are doing it, and it's happening to the others, I mean, how can we use a Venusian thought process and their wisdom, and how would we transform that to come together?
Yes, well, coming together requires negotiation and seeding, a little bit on each side, and talking things out and working things out. And it's better to always come together to reach a consensus than it is to drift apart, because here on this world anyway, it always leads to war and conflict.
Yeah.
It takes work, and it takes patience, and it takes understanding and being able to walk in another person's shoes,
Compassion, yeah.
Compassion and empathy. And I just don't see it right now in any big number. But that's why we're here, to start the ball rolling and get it going. It starts with us.
It starts with us.
The Mount Shasta Summer Conference, when we all come together and maybe get our ideas and get some new ideas and new inspiration.
Exactly. I thank you too so much for having had this beautiful conversation with us, with me.
Thank you.
We are going to share it now with the world. We already have. It's already in the ether. And then now when I've uploaded it, people can watch it and they can come, they can tune in. And yeah. I
want to thank you for having us on as well. And it's been an honor and a pleasure to talk to you today, Anja. We're going to see you in Mount Shasta in June, and we'll be talking to you a lot before that. In fact, I'm going to get a hold of Toby and see if I can get Toby to engineer a Zoom. Maybe we can get a Zoom call with the little Venusian, get some people excited with their wisdom.
And I'll tell you that the Mount Shasta conferences, and they do get bigger every year, they're very, very distinct from a typical UFO conference where you're just kind of lost in a crowd, and if you want to see somebody, you have to stand in the line that goes halfway around the world. Everybody's right there and talking to each other all the time, and sharing time together between meetings, going into town. There's so many interesting things. Mount Shasta is a little town, but there's so much there, and so many people who are at a high attunement, because after all, it's built, Telos is right underneath Mount Shasta. So,
you know what? It's good that you mentioned that, because I really feel now this is so wonderful, Ray, that you are really bringing also these worlds together of the ufologist world, the UFO, those who have mainly their focus on the outside phenomena, right? Observing, and where is this craft coming from, and what is that? And without getting connected to the spiritual essence of the benevolent extraterrestrials, what we are bringing and what you are bringing. And you are really connecting these two worlds in your books and in your presence. And I'm so happy, and I think it's so wonderful that you are speaking at MUFON, for example, because I don't know so much about MUFON, but I think this is more a UFO group, right? Who are basically concentrated. I don't know. I don't want to say anything wrong because I don't really know them, but you are really bringing the outside phenomena, the history, and the spirituality together. This is a huge, wonderful.
Yes, Anja, I'm trying to help people to understand that it's more than lights in the sky and light on the ground with the governments of the world, but it's just the simple fact that if we sent manned explorers to other worlds and discovered that there was life on the surface, it's just incredible that people believe that we never send anybody out to talk to anybody or find out what's going on. But the Venusians and others frequently come and go and even live and work among us. And I point this out in the book with testimonies from people who have had contact and insiders inside the governments of the world, talking about the alien presence here on Earth. So they're doing their part to help, not just in the right direction as well.
Yeah, MUFON's kind of like an investigative thing. They're still taking soil samples and scratching their heads. He's bringing the reality And of course, you know, the government's been sharing this the lie of, you know, like in the old days, horses were along the only way you could get around. If you were to describe an American Indian to someone, they would say, "Oh, that it's not possible." And people go, "We couldn't possibly go in outer space. How could we get there?" Well, we're flying in rockets now, and it's just another small step, not for mankind, but yeah, for our awareness to realize there are time and space with portals and dimensions make distance very different. And Raymond always goes, well, you know, you have a piece of paper. If you're here and you're here, you don't have to travel all that way. You just fold the paper and you're there. So that's what they do. They kind of fold time and space. And once we understand that, we can understand why and the reality of the fact that this solar system right now is a huge parking lot of 8 galaxies of super federations with hundreds and hundreds of millions of spaceships gathered around the Earth, holding prayers and working behind the scenes to bring mankind and this Earth past this childish phase where we could destroy ourselves and to bring us into harmony and let it begin with us individually in our hearts.
Thank you, Rob. Well said.
You know, we are now in this interesting flow. I now another question has been popping up that I never really found an answer to, and this is that Omnec always said that technological progress and development has to go hand in hand with spiritual awareness, and this is how the Venusians also reached that point that science and technology are one side of the medal and spirituality and awareness is the other side of the medal. And like, for example, then that you reach this point where you understand dimensions and dimensional doorways and time travel and all these kind of things, folding reality. However, then if consciousness expansion and spiritual awareness is kind of mandatory to reach a certain technological level, then why are there how can it then be that there are so many evil and negative and dark aliens around in this universe?
Well, the universe, of course, is a big place. Paul Hellyer, who was the defense minister in Canada during the Pearson administration in the early 60s in Canada, was the liaison with the NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. He said he knew for a fact that there were, in talking with people in the American government and in NATO command, he knew that for a fact that there were at least 80 species of aliens that were living and operating on Earth. And he said of those, probably 20% had bad intentions toward the Earth, but the remainder were on our side.
And I think the remainder now have removed the other 20%. It's pretty much coming down to the final cleanup of some of these hostile, as the Venusians say, interlopers. And answer to the technology, we do have this technology. The representatives of the negative groups that have been put themselves into positions of power have been keeping us in the dark. And most of us would have the ability and the consciousness to use this technology properly. And the Queen said, you're going to need our help as you move into the 4th dimension, which is time, to help utilize these technologies responsibly. And people will be very happy as these technologies of life extension and translation and making us younger and allowing us to actually, by the time we figure out life, we're getting old. We go through the process of growth on this crazy Earth. We just start to figure it out, and the mortal coil begins to shut down. So with these new technologies and the new understanding of the way the universe works, and an elimination of the deleterious effects of foods and technologies that are designed to keep us in a negative space by the negative interlopers and their influence, we will be able to work in harmony. And as people reach out to their brothers and sisters based on seeing God within them, not a color, not a race, not a culture that there's a fear, but to see that as God within themselves and to get along. This is really where we're heading. And when that takes place, boom, it'll ignite everything in a very fast level. Mankind will raise to the stars very quickly for all of us.
Thank you, Rob. Wonderful.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Ray, do you have any last word now?
No, it's just a pleasure to see you again. I can't believe it, after being cooped up for so long, that I finally get to go out and see you again and contact other light workers all over the world. And I'm just so looking forward to see you again in person in the
Me
next.
too. Yes, we keep in touch. Stay there for a moment, and I thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Schmooze, Geschenk.